I think we should already be over 100K. It's probably still some price suppression going on, but realistically, it should be over 100K, I think. And once we cross that barrier, it'll go up very quickly. At least I think so.
Okay.
Just looking at the macroeconomic environment, looking at the massive amounts of debt, interest to service the debt, and rampant printing, rate cuts, it's all tying together and pointing in the direction of up for Bitcoin.
Following Donald Trump's election victory, Bitcoin's price has surged, igniting global interest in the digital asset. Amid growing economic uncertainties, many view Bitcoin as a safeguard against inflation and mounting debt, especially as trust in traditional currencies wavers in some regions. Bitcoin has become a symbol of financial freedom and resilience, offering hope to those seeking alternatives to conventional financial systems. However, traditional institutions remain cautious, perceiving Bitcoin as a disruptor to established economic frameworks. Bitcoin advocate and CEO of January 3rd, Samson Mow, remains optimistic, predicting the cryptocurrency will surpass the $100,000 mark. This milestone, he believes, could bring new hope to regions grappling with economic instability, offering a pathway to stability and self-determination. Bitcoin's ascent has reignited interest in digital finance as a solution to ongoing economic challenges, particularly in countries struggling with financial instability. As Bitcoin gains traction, its limited supply and decentralized nature challenge traditional methods of resource and capital control, urging nations to adopt bold strategies in response. The rise of Bitcoin highlights the shifting financial landscape, emphasizing the need for innovative approaches to achieve growth and independence in an increasingly uncertain economic environment.
Hi guys, hope to see you guys at Dubai Token 2049. We have exclusive 10% off the limited super early bird tickets. Click the link below. This pass will grant you access to speaking sessions, networking app, exhibition hall, daily networking drinks, and also included breakfast, lunch, and coffee breaks, all included the package. I love to see everyone there. Peace out.
And even though we're not at all-time highs right now, I would say there's a resurgence of interest, and that helps definitely. But when people don't really understand Bitcoin, price is sort of the indicator they're going off of. Like, is it going up? And is there hype around it? And that kind of opens the door for discussions. But the prevailing theme, I would say, is people in countries that need Bitcoin are more interested just naturally than people from wealthier countries or governments in wealthier countries. Those ones are more interested in protecting what they have, seeking to regulate and control, whereas countries in Latin America, the global south, they're looking for money to come in, either through tourism or from investment. And they're not worried about, do we have all the right regulations in place? It's sort of more about the people and the prosperity and just letting them make a living. Recently, I'm pointing a lot more to Argentina and the deregulation of money.
Okay.
Because I think that is a viable path too. Simply because it is hard to get a legal tender framework in place. That requires a lot of conviction and a deep understanding of Bitcoin. And maybe also not having anything to lose. Whereas other countries, they may not have all those things, but they also don't have a majority in the parliament or the Senate that would allow them to pass these types of laws easily.
Interesting.
So I think it's easier to push for deregulation of money or removal of capital gains that allows Bitcoin to be used as money, like in Switzerland and Lugano.
Yeah.
So it's an easier fight, I think. Or even approaching countries that don't have a central bank, that don't have their own currency. Those are also low-hanging fruits that we can pursue. There is definitely a good chance that Panama could be a Bitcoin country. Other countries, Africa, we're not as interested in, simply because it seems to be less geopolitically stable. Even Latin America is not that stable, right? Like Ecuador had some tumultuous upheaval with the government being ousted, and it's to be determined, but generally Latin America is more stable than the rest, so that's sort of our focus right now. I think the legal tender law is the most difficult, so we don't really focus too much on that. We talk about it, but I think we're more focused on trying to get them to do a Bitcoin bond, or maybe do something like a Bitcoin strategic reserve where they just buy Bitcoin and accumulate it.
Okay.
I think it's much easier a lift than going to full legal tender.
Right.
Because there's also the IMF that's breathing down a lot of these countries' necks, and they don't really like Bitcoin, it seems. But that might change. But for now, it's still a point of contention, and it does weigh heavily on a lot of the presidents and prime ministers. There are other places like Indonesia, you can't use it for payments. And
Right.
we were talking with the former governor Ridwan Kamil, and bringing that up too. And then he stepped away from politics, and now it seems like he's coming back. But generally, there's like a tide, people come and then they go, and you have to make sure that you're at the right time, at the right place at the right time to catch these opportunities as they present.
Samson Mow highlights a growing global interest in Bitcoin, even as its current price remains below previous highs. He notes that price movements drive public discussions, with the strongest enthusiasm emerging from regions like the Global South and Latin America, where Bitcoin is viewed as a tool for economic empowerment. Mow sees significant potential in tourism-heavy regions, advocating for Bitcoin integration to boost economic inflows through innovative measures like Bitcoin Bond. However, he acknowledges resistance from institutions like the IMF and underscores the need for strategic timing to overcome challenges in adoption, particularly in regions like Indonesia. Mow predicts that Bitcoin's price should surpass $100,000, although he believes it is currently suppressed. He anticipates a rapid surge once this psychological barrier is breached, driven by macroeconomic factors such as rising debt, money printing, and rate cut. Despite its potential, Mow identifies the perception of Bitcoin as risky as a significant hurdle to adoption. Conservative attitudes in regions like Taiwan, Japan, and Korea contribute to hesitance, slowing the adoption process. He warns that regions delaying Bitcoin integration, such as Hong Kong and Australia, risk missing out on its finite opportunities compared to the flexible nature of fiat currencies. Mow emphasizes that embracing Bitcoin sooner could unlock its transformative potential, providing both economic resilience and growth in an increasingly digital and decentralized financial world.
I think we should already be over 100K. It's probably still some price suppression going on, but realistically, it should be over 100K, I think. And once we cross that barrier, it'll go up very quickly. At least I think so.
Okay.
Just looking at the macroeconomic environment, looking at the massive amounts of debt, interest to service the debt, and rampant printing, rate cuts, it's all tying together and pointing in the direction of up for Bitcoin. The biggest challenge is just perception of Bitcoin as a risky thing. I was in Taiwan, Japan, Korea, and a lot of the concern is like it's risky, and the people there kind of have their own limitations set already. They're like, we are too conservative to do something like Bitcoin. And maybe we'll wait until, let's say, the US does something, and then we'll do something. So it's a very wait and see attitude, and a self-imposed restriction that we are too conservative. And that's the biggest barrier. And I try to explain to them that being risky and conservative is like two sides of a circle. If you're trying to back away from risk, or trying to be more and more conservative, eventually you go to the risk side, because Bitcoin is a technology. And if you're shying away from it, your risk is that you miss out on that technological revolution. It's like cars are risky. We're gonna not use cars, and we'll stick with the horses, and then you miss out on automobiles. And of course, you're gonna miss out economically. Same for airplanes. Airplanes are risky, especially if it's Boeing. So, are you gonna avoid airplanes, not have a national airline? Maybe, but you're also gonna miss out on opportunities too. So I think that's the number one barrier. People think, we are conservative, or Bitcoin is risky, and we cannot cross that chasm to Bitcoin. But then I try to present the reality, which is you will cross that chasm eventually. So it's either you choose to do it now or after the US. And the ETFs, whether you like them or not, are a great illustration of this. So a lot of countries waited for the US to push out the ETFs. Hong Kong was waiting for the US. Australia was waiting. And then SEC said, okay, now they have almost 1 million Bitcoin. Hong Kong has 10,000 something. Australia has 100 something. So if you wait, then yeah, you're going to fall behind. Trump is going to probably win. He'll create the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And even if he does 20% of what he said he's going to do, that's still 200,000 coins. So how many coins will Germany have? Or pick a country, Argentina. The window, I think, is closing very rapidly to accumulate a significant chunk of Bitcoin. And people haven't done that mental calculus yet. Like, how much has been bought by the ETFs? A massive chunk. How much has MicroStrategy accumulated? A massive chunk. Can another company do a MicroStrategy and get 250,000 Bitcoin? I don't think so. Because you're also fighting MicroStrategy and all the new ones like Semler and Metaplanet and the ETFs at the same time, and potentially a strategic reserve from the US. There's not a lot of Bitcoin left to fill coffers to the tune of 250,000 BTC. But the scarcity is just not something people can comprehend because they live in a fiat world where you can catch up by printing. So let's say, for example, Germany wants more nuclear plants. They don't have the know-how or the engineers or the components needed. They can still kind of print euros to catch up, right? So the concept of catching up through printing is just so deeply entrenched that they can't really comprehend that this thing is finite and there is no catching up.
Bitcoin recently surged to an impressive $6,990, fueled by growing optimism in the cryptocurrency market and shifts in U.S. policy. Notably, former skeptic Donald Trump has evolved into a supporter of crypto, evidenced by his launch of the World Liberty financial venture in September, despite initial challenges. Analysts had predicted a cryptocurrency boost following Trump's victory, with expectations that his policies would promote deregulation and provide incentives for digital assets like Bitcoin. Nigel Green of Devere Group highlighted the potential for Bitcoin to reach new heights as the U.S. pivots toward a more crypto-friendly stance. Trump's economic policies, including tax cuts and immigration restrictions, are anticipated to heighten inflation and drive up bond yields, further influencing global markets. The U.S. dollar reached a two-year high, while European markets braced for potential disruptions from Trump's trade strategies. Amid these developments, Bitcoin's rising value reflects its growing appeal as a hedge against economic uncertainty and a symbol of financial innovation. Supporters view these policy shifts as an opportunity to cement digital assets like Bitcoin in the global economy. As Bitcoin reaches new heights, discussions around its transformative potential intensify. Initiatives like Bitcoin bonds and strategic reserves are reshaping the narrative around digital finance, offering innovative solutions to economic challenges. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin's role in this evolving financial landscape? How might these developments impact the future of cryptocurrencies in a rapidly changing global economy? Share your insights in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these two awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.